AAT Birds Weekly Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need. All about the birds, all birds, all the time.
And welcome to the AAT Birds schedule release show. The Eagle schedule the NFL schedule was released tonight. Now, you get all the leaks beforehand, basically from early today into the day. You get a bunch of leaks and a bunch of games on when they're going to be. So, you had the Eagle schedule basically leak out by, 4:30, 3, around that area. You kind of saw everything. You just didn't know what the times were. We got the times at 8 o'clock and kind of who they're playing when. So basically what I want to do is I want to discuss the schedule, how it lays out. There's a couple things I want to talk about with it because there's a couple of interesting things. There's a few things on here that is pretty interesting in the fact of when they play two of the divisional teams. It's essentially they play two divisional teams, as you can see, the Giants and the Commanders, in essentially like not back to back, of course, but every other week. But I want to go over the schedule and then we'll kind of break it down. I want to get your thoughts on it and then I'll give you mine. But as we know, week one is the Thursday night banner unveiling. I like that. I like that kind of like seems like pettiness if you want to say that.
And you know what the problem is that I love that we are opening against Dallas. I love that we're opening at home. Yeah. I love that it's our banner release. I love all these things. I actually am annoyed because I know the Eagles are going to be classy and I don't want them to be. I want them to be petty as hell. I want them to unveil a Dallas sucks banner. I want them to unveil a 2 times in the 2000s kind of like mantra thing. I want them to play old, VCR highlights, putting I want them to be as petty as humanly possible. And I know that the Eagles are too classy of an organization and they won't do it.
Yeah, most likely they won't, but they're
going to take the high ground, but it's still really cool that the Cowboys get to be a part of a banner unveiling ceremony.
I do want to go over this at the end before I want to get your feedback on what game you would like to see the Kelly Greens, what game you'd like to see the black, and then what alternative uniform you want to see, everything there. Now, what I would like a question before we get into the rest of the schedule would be, would you like to see the Eagles break out the Kelly Green week one? I know you're not the biggest Kelly Green fan, but
I like the Kelly Green. I just think that week one isn't the time for it. You end up doing it a little more around the holidays. That way you can sell the merch. Coming right out of the gate like that, that's not the Eagles uniform. That's what it comes down to. That is not the Eagles uniform.
So then they go to Kansas City, 4:25 matchup, the week 2. Week 3, home, LA Rams, 1 o'clock. Week 4, now 1 o'clock.
I like that. All right, wait. I like that LA Rams 1 o'clock because the LA Rams are not a 1 o'clock team.
Yeah, it's the whole travel thing. That's interesting. I thought that was going to be at least either a night game or a 4 o'clock game.
Right, so they would kind of meet in the middle. But no, they're saying LA Rams basically have to be ready for, a 10 a.m. start in their time?
Yeah. The next week, week 4, another September matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. Seems like it's every year, essentially. 1 o'clock matchup, which it's going to probably be hot. It's, we saw it last year, what happened there. So, maybe this is where they get over the hump there in Tampa Bay in 1 o'clock game in the heat. Week 5, home against Denver, 1 o'clock. Again, another West Coast team traveling, playing a 1 o'clock game. Week 6, Thursday night football at the New York Giants. Just gotta Just got to get off that turf and not have to worry about that. That's all I kind of worry about there. Week 7 at the Minnesota Vikings, 1 p.m. Week 8, home again. There's the Giants again, 1 o'clock. Then a bye week. Week 9 bye. I like that. It's like it's right smack dab in the middle. I like that. That's a nice bye to have there. Week 10, Monday Night Football, Green Bay Packers. So you have that. Week 11,
not in Brazil.
Not in Brazil. Week 11, Sunday Night Football, home against the Detroit Lions.
That's going to be a Kelly Green game.
Yeah, I could see that. Week 12, at Dallas, 425 matchup. Week 13, the Eagles, as we saw, was released early. Same with the Green Bay Packers game and the Washington game in a couple weeks when I talk about that one. They were released early. The Black Friday game, 3 o'clock at home.
And if the Detroit game isn't the Kelly Green game, that's the Kelly Green game.
Or what about this? All black on Black Friday. Just saying. The other games that we have for the rest to round out the rest of the schedule is week 14 is at the LA Chargers Monday Night Football. Then you have week 15, the Las Vegas Raiders, 1 p.m. Again, West Coast team traveling east, 1 o'clock. Then you have week 16, Saturday, December 20th, at the Washington Commanders. It's either going to be a 4:30 or an 8 o'clock matchup. Week 17, which I have to check. You have to check for me. The Buffalo Bills schedule. Now they're probably going to make the playoffs, so that won't be the last game. This is their last season at Highmark Stadium. I'm not sure if their last game of the season is an away game or is it a home game against their division opponent. But
I'm looking right now. Hang on.
the Eagles are going to Buffalo, 425. And that was on
Buffalo ends their season home against the Jets.
Okay. So I figured they would do that because that's the last game at Highmark, last regular season game at Highmark. So it won't be the Eagles. Eagles will be the second last regular season game. I didn't check that before. And then week 18 is either going to be this January 3rd or January 4th, all depending. And of course, it's against Washington at home, to be determined because, of course, as you know, with the last week of the season, it could be a 1 o'clock, it could be 4 o'clock, it could be Saturday night, it could be Saturday afternoon, it could be Sunday night, it could be so.
Yeah, they put together their best slew of football.
So that is we wait and see with that. But that's the schedule. The first thing I want to bring up to you, Chip, when you look at the first thing I want to bring up here is I want to ask you. Mm-hmm. You see the schedule laid out. Give me your thoughts on it. I know it is a tough schedule. We knew it was going to be when we saw it.
We're a first place team.
But what's your thoughts on the way it's laid out? Who they're playing when, where they're playing? Like, of course, that all factors in here.
Yeah. So on the flip side, like I love opening against Dallas. I am very against waiting that long to play Washington. We're playing in week 16 and we're playing in week 18. And in reality, Washington will probably be a playoff team. The Eagles will probably be a playoff team. So there is a very real probability that we could play them 3 times in like a 5 or 6 week span. I don't like the way that portion of the schedule is laid out. I think that, normally you kind of backload a run of division games. So I was surprised to see that, we play the Giants twice in 3 weeks, right? I was surprised that there wasn't a Washington game up higher and a Giants game down lower, to space them out a little bit.
Listen, I was surprised there was a lot of early divisional games in week 1. You have a lot slated, and you take a look at the Giants. The Giants play, when you look at their schedule, they open up with Washington, and then I think they play Dallas. So it's a, bang, bang. They play, and then they play the Eagles in week 6 and week 8. And the way I look at it too is you look at the schedule, the meat of the Eagles schedule, and I think the toughest part of their schedule, it's the second half of that. So when you look at the schedule and you look at the rundown, Dallas, Kansas City, Rams, that's going to be tough. Then you have Tampa. What kind of team are they going to be? You don't know. Denver, I know they had a good season last year. Then you have Giants, Minnesota, Giants.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think that's a lot easier than when you look at Green Bay, Detroit, at Dallas, Chicago, at the Chargers, Vegas, Washington, Buffalo, Washington. So it's like.
So I'll counter you because I think it's pretty even top and bottom. You know what I mean? Because yes, Kansas City, the Rams, Tampa, and I'll say Denver and Minnesota are pretty decent games. I don't have any faith in the Cowboys being a competitive team. I don't have any faith in the Giants being a competitive team. On the bottom half, Green Bay is going to be a competitive game. Detroit's going to be a competitive game. Chicago might be a competitive game depending on how their new pieces come together. Washington's going to be competitive. Buffalo's going to be competitive. I think that it's pretty even. You looking at the bye week split.
Yeah, I can. There's not a lot of travel, which we know that's a good thing. Like when you take a look,
which is a benefit compared to what we had last year.
Because also you look at the Eagles' schedule is they don't play back-to-back home games at all. It's either they play 2 road games in a row, or it's road home, road home, road home. There's no back-to-back home games. So, the only time they'll get back,
that's also surprising.
Yeah, that's very surprising. But the one good thing too is when you look after they come home after the Monday night game and in LA against the Chargers. They're at home against the Raiders. They go to Maryland. They go to Buffalo, and then they're home. They don't have to travel very far there. There isn't a lot of travel at all when you take a look at the schedule. Like it isn't super tough in terms of the travel for them because the only West Coast team they go to is the Chargers. They go to Kansas City, Tampa, Minnesota, Green Bay. Like there isn't really any far games, which is good for them. The travel aspect, especially with the way the schedule is laid out in the games they're playing on a Monday. They're playing on, of course, Sunday night. They're playing Saturday. They're playing on Friday, Thursday. So they've got a lot of.
It's funny that you mentioned the 1 o'clock thing, and you're like, oh well, I'm surprised we have all these 1 o'clock games. In reality, we have a Thursday night game, a Thursday night game, a Monday night game, a Sunday night game, a Black Friday game, a Monday night game. And I'm going to guess just early on that last game of the season will probably be a primetime Saturday or a primetime Sunday game. So out of our 17 games, definitely 6, but 7 of those games are, were the game.
Yeah. So, and, too, when you look at these games, some of these get flexed. You always have that option if a team, is pretty good. Now, the second half of the year, it's kind of tough because they have a lot of 4 o'clock games or the standalone games already. But when you take a look at, who knows how good the Raiders are going to be? Who knows how good the Giants are going to be? Who knows how good the Vikings? Some of these games could get flexed out. We know that. But
right. Let's call it like it is. Like we also don't know how good we're going to be yet. Like, what we said, one of the things that you and I said in the green room is I don't want to do a schedule prediction kind of thing because we don't know what our team is yet. Like I look at this and I can easily see 12, 13 wins. I just don't know where they're going to be.
Now, also part of the schedule that's not on the side of the screen there is the 3 preseason games, which is they play Thursday, August 7th at 7:30 against the Bengals. They play the Browns then Saturday at 1 o'clock at home. And then they finish against the Jets at MetLife, 7:30. So you have those 3 preseason games. But
we've learned in the past couple of years that preseason really is irrelevant.
They don't play the starters. It's not irrelevant because I watch every snap each because I'm a sicko like that, and it's just what I do. But
right, but you're not right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're not going to get a sense of what this team is.
No, you're not going to see the starters, but you're going to see other guys fighting for some spots and stuff like that.
That's cool. Love that.
The other thing too, when you're taking a look at the schedule, figuring out the uniforms and when they're going to wear their specialty uniforms, whether it's the Kelly Greens. They're probably wearing those 2 times. 2 times. And then they'll probably wear, well, apparently you can wear it up to 4 times. So they could be wearing the Kelly Greens 3 times this year. And then maybe they're wearing the all black somewhere, or they may do that black helmet, white jersey. Well, actually, you can actually wear that.
What was the look that you wanted? You wanted what, the Kelly green helmets and the all white? Is that the look that you said you wanted?
No. I said a alternate Kelly green, an away Kelly green would be a cool concept to have. My thing is I would like to see a combination aspect of, say, the Eagles having the black jerseys and white pants, or the Eagles going black jerseys, green pants, something different there. So again, we'll see what they do with that. But for me, if I'm looking at these games and where I'm picking, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to pick 3 Kelly Greens, or you know what? I'm going to pick 2 Kelly Greens. I'm going to pick the black helmet with the white jerseys, and I'm going to pick the all black. So right off the bat, the all black, I think, is going to be, with the all black, I think I'm going to go with the Dallas at 425 at Dallas, because Dallas always wears white at home. So that's where I'm going to go there. You know what? I can't do that. I talked about it earlier. The all black's going to be Black Friday. I talked about it earlier. Why am I going to go away from it? So I'm going all black Black Friday. The black helmet and white everything, I'm going to go that on Thursday night at the New York Giants. Wear the black helmet and you wear the away jerseys. The 2 Kelly Greens. The 2 Kelly Green games, I'm going to go with the Detroit Sunday night. You had mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with that one. And then the last Kelly Green game, I'm going to say they wear it week 8 against the Giants at home, 1:00.
So I tend to agree. I was looking at that game too. I definitely think that the Detroit game, Sunday Night Football, is going to be a Kelly Green game. I think that the Chicago game, they're going to do some kind of play on the black as well, whether the black helmets and the white, whatever. I think the other Kelly Green game is going to end up being the Raiders game.
You know what? I thought about that. I thought about
because they're going to do some sort of, hey, it's the last time they wore Kelly Green against the Raiders, it was a Super Bowl, like that, something stupid like that.
I like it though. It makes sense if you think about it. It's hard.
And then you go away for, and it's kind of nice because you look at it and it's, it's 10 days before Christmas. It's 11 days before Christmas. So you can get that material out for the holiday shoppers. It's after an away game and before 2 away games. So it's kind of nice and nestled in there. So it kind of like, and it's also in that slog of the season where the playoff picture is starting to take place a little bit. So it gives people something to get hyped for. I think that Raiders game is almost a lock on the Kelly Green. It's my Ulecka lock of the night.
Oh boy, look at you putting it in early. It's the earliest Ulecka lock in a long time. But
well, I'm also saying because I know it'll be wrong. So
yeah. So the other thing I want to ask, since we're talking about some uniforms here, and of course we're talking about the schedule as well. So I believe in 2027, I think it's 27 or maybe it's 26. Well, the Eagles will be doing, the NFL is doing this whole rivalry thing, and they're getting essentially it's like City Connect jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go with a different league here, and they want to come up with different uniforms, alternate uniforms that show the city or whatever it is. To me, I have this question for you, Chip, and I know that the resounding answer is going to probably be a no. But when you look at the hat,
you're about to say something stupid.
I am. When you look at when the Eagles go and they play this rivalry and they have to design these uniforms, the hat you're wearing have the colors blue and yellow on it. What would you say the Eagles bring those bad boys back that they wore back in 07? Because I had this. It was between that, potentially having the white helmet and green unis, or potentially having a Kelly Green away alternate. But again, I'm not sure you really want to do that. You want to have a home jersey if you're doing the rivalry because you're probably going to be playing at home.
So I hear what you're saying, and I kind of get your train of thought. I don't see them going that route for their NFL City Connect because it's not really who they are. Like, it was a quirk and a quirky uniform when they did it based on something, right? But that's not really the foundation of this city and of this team.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see what they do with it. To me, I just have a bad feeling. Any of the City Connect jerseys, they're just, to me, a lot of them are just awful. So
I think this, like, even with baseball, I think the City Connect logos are good. The Philly City Connect jersey is terrible.
Yeah.
But this hat, I love this hat.
Yeah. Like, to me, I just don't want, to me, you're ruining, like, I don't want you to ruin, I understand it's all sales and all people. Like, I see they're talking about the other teams, like the NFC West is getting them this year and the AFC East. And people are talking about, like, Miami Vice having, like, the Miami Vice logo. Like, for me, if I'm Miami, what I do is my jersey is bringing back the orange jerseys that they wore back. So just case in point, look at 2003 Eagles and Dolphins, that orange jersey. Bringing that. That would be cool in my eyes. When you take a look at the Patriots, it would be cool with a rivalry with the Patriots, bringing back the jerseys where the Patriot that's coming over the shoulder that they wore back in the mid to late 90s. When you look at the Bills, perfect for the Bills, bring that red helmets back, the old style Bills from the early 90s. And then when you look at the Jets, you could bring back have the Jets what they're wearing when they won the last Super Bowl. I don't know. Do something different there. But, like, for me, I said I would like them to kind of bring an old throwback back or bring an old style back.
Let's see if I can get this on our screen. Hang on. All right, here's my idea. Ready? That's not my idea. Thanks to social media.
Terrible. It's awful. It's just friggin' awful.
Yeah.
It is so bad.
No, that's not the one.
No, it's not the one. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And again, these are going to be awful. But the Eagles don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about.
And that's kind of my point, Johnny, is that the City Connect Eagles is kind of at this point the Kelly Green jerseys.
Yeah, I get that. I just, like, for me, when I think of rivalry, like, when you're going outside of what any of these teams ever wore, I think that would be a mistake. To me, the rivalry should be these teams wearing jerseys that they wore in time, early seasons or years ago. You bring that back. To me, that's what rivalry is. Now, again, we'll see what happens and what comes of it. Eagles, we don't have to worry about that for a little bit. But
hold on, I got another one to ruin your day.
Oh boy!
All right, hold on.
You can just see this going off the rails, just off the rails.
Oh yeah, and here you go. It's the Fresh Prince theme.
That's fucking terrible. It's terrible. It is absolutely awful. Like, this is an NFL street. Like, what are we doing? It's fucking awful.
While we keep talking, I'm just gonna continue to try and find worse and worse ones.
Here, I got something for you. This is my idea. I know it's a schedule release show. We talked about the schedule. I want to talk about this for the last couple minutes before we get out of here. But I'm going to look up a couple things here. Okay. See, dog agrees with me.
The dog is high on Pop-Tarts and fruit snacks.
Doesn't matter. Agrees with me. It's fine.
Johnny, I wouldn't say that something that licks its own ass is your go-to here.
Well, sometimes when you talk, you're talking out of your ass. So
that's true. All right, wait, I got one for you while you're looking.
Oh boy.
All right, here you go.
No. Because what's going to happen is they wear that uniform, they're just going to blow it in the end anyway. So I don't want that. But
dude,
no,
you're
I
a Mariners fan.
And the Mariners have a winning record over the Philadelphia Phillies. So exactly. We can revisit that another time. But to me, I just think when you're looking at a rivalry, it should be what a team has worn already. And if you're playing like the Eagles and Giants, the Giants wear their Giants and they like the Giants across, or even one of the like the old NY that they used to have, the old one. Like there's different things, or I don't even care. Let the Giants bring back the red jerseys they wore in the early 2000s. Like I just think it's something that they've already worn. To me, I think that would, and you would still sell jerseys because these teams would still buy these older jerseys with the new team players on it, the new players on it. Like look at the Kelly Green and what the Eagles did with that and the amount of money that they made by having Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and all these new players in Kelly Green. Like to me, I think that's just what it is now. I don't know how many people would be buying the blue and yellow jerseys, but you never know. I'm not saying bring those back, but I'm just.
I found a couple more for you. So.
Oh God. I'm sure they're awful.
Well, these are a little better. Okay. I'm gonna have to zoom in on some of them. All right. So actually, I'm gonna have to zoom in on all of them. So give me a second here.
Yeah, it's so small on the bottom of the screen. I'm still saying.
Oh, some of them. All right. So there's this one.
Yeah. Hurts my eyes. Like that's just terrible. Like if you're gonna do that, why not just bring Kelly Green and wear the away Kelly Green? That's just my opinion there.
Okay.
Like,
how about this one?
Now, is that fucking Tyrod Taylor?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's terrible. Okay. Awful again.
Listen, I'm not aiming for success on these.
Oh no, I know.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Here's different arrangements.
Now, what is this, Oregon? Chip Kelly's not coaching us, so
that's true. Thank God. And if we're the point of these City Connect jerseys is what? Bring a little history.
Now that is what I can get on board with.
I knew you would. I saved the best for last, buddy.
Or even the white helmet with the green jersey. They did wear that too in the 70s. So that is something. But
so there you go. That's what I've done to contribute this fine evening is ruin your night just slightly.
So I do want to pose this last question. It's not schedule related, but it kind of is because it'll be released when they're in the preseason. So maybe even earlier. But I had this discussion. I posted it earlier this week or late last week, a couple days ago. And it stated who should be inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame. They usually induct one guy. Sometimes they induct two, depending on induct two. And, they did it with Trent Cole and Hugh Douglas. They did it with Trey and John Runyon. But most of the time, they did it with Clyde and Seth. But most of the time, it's one guy. Mm-hmm. Who would you say should be the Eagles inductee for this season? Now, what I'm going to do is I know some people throw out the Kelsey BG Cox right away. Let's
not yet.
Exactly. Let's say not yet to those three.
We can bring them in like a 5 or 10 year anniversary of the first Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like let's hold off on them right now. Who would you say are candidates? Because I have a couple guys in mind that I could throw out. All right. So a couple guys that
give me some choices here.
A couple guys that I thought about. Okay. For Hall of Fame, Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame class of this year. So last year, LaShawn McCoy was inducted.
And rightfully so.
Deshaun Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely be one. Malcolm Jenkins.
That was the first one that jumped to my mind. I'm going to be honest.
So you have those two.
I don't know if you're going to be able to put him in when he basically split time with the Saints.
Yeah, but you look at
with McCoy, he had the majority and the entirety of his success as an Eagle. When you look at Deshaun Jackson, he had the majority of his success as an Eagle. When you look at Malcolm Jenkins, while I love him as a player, he had equal success as a Saint, as an Eagle.
Yeah, but he still won a Super Bowl. He was basically the leader of the back end of that defense. Played 6 years here. It wasn't like he got his Pro Bowls here. Like, he didn't make Pro Bowl before he came to the Eagles. I believe that is true. But to me, those are two guys that jumped out, and not counting the other three guys like Cox, Kelsey, BG, because those names always come right up. To me, those are the guys that I say right away.
I think again, just because we have to do it, I think Foles gets inducted on the anniversary of the Super Bowl.
It's true. You probably could get Foles.
You know what I'm saying? Westbrook is already in there, right?
Yeah, Westbrook's in there. McNabb's in there.
McNabb is in there, and again, rightfully so. Ertz is still playing, so he's not going to be anytime soon. Trey's in there. John Runyon's in there.
There's a lot of the guys from the early 2000s already in there, I believe.
That's what I'm saying.
So there isn't really much to think about with those.
Trotter's already in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hugh is already in there.
To me, looking at it, and I know, you look at Deshaun and, of course, Jeremy Maclin and stuff, but I don't think that's – when you have the guys that are right there.
Is Trent Cole already in there?
Yes, he went with – a couple of years ago, him and Hugh went in together.
I thought so.
But again, I can also see them – it wouldn't surprise me if they said Malcolm and Nick Foles and bring two guys from that Super Bowl team to make it.
Akers is already in there.
It's just surprising to me that you think about it. Akers is already in there. To me, it's surprising that when they inducted LaShawn last year, that they didn't just add LaShawn and Shady and D-Jack. To me, that would be a perfect combination to have those two guys, because they both essentially played the same amount of time here in the same time frame, except for Deshaun came back for 2 years in 19 and 20. But
I know my pick. I know who's going in this year.
Oh boy, who's that?
Correll Buckhalter and James Thrash.
Yeah, thought you were going to say Kevin Cobb.
I would, but he would already forget that he was in there.
Yeah.
CTE.
Fortunately, he had a lot of injuries, but
that was a mistake from the jump street. He will not make my all 25 team or whatever it is.
Quarter century Eagles team, which we will be doing, but
he ain't on there. I could see Foles going in there, and like you said, I like the idea of doing the two leaders of the offense defense of that Super Bowl team.
Yeah. So it's funny too when you think about it. Looking at it right now, look at the date. It's already the middle of May. Next month Eagles ring ceremony, so we get to see what this ring's going to look like. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what they do there. Hopefully it's massive, because that's what the Eagles deserve. We got a couple different shows planned, working on some other stuff here. So it should be very interesting. We're going to be jam-packed with some content. So definitely make sure that you're subscribing. Make sure you're checking us out. All the socials down at the bottom there. Again, make sure you're following, you're liking, make sure you're subscribing on the YouTube channel. And, if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate. Always message us on either of the platforms, and we'll get back to you. But any ideas you have too, or something you'd like to see, don't hesitate to ask. But with that, as we always end it, with a very happy and joyful Go Birds.
Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird. All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.